And officially, good morning, happy Sunday. Welcome to the Market Watch Group Sunday Market Insights. My name is Scott. I will be your host. Okay. Now I need to make sure my slides are working. And there we go. As always, what we're doing is for education, illustrative purposes only. Nothing we do should be considered or construed as a recommendation to buy or sell. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. Yada, yada. What do we got on the agenda today? Let's posture the market. I think makes a good amount of sense. We'll go through our standard market posture process. We'll take a look at the economic calendar for this week. We'll identify any sectors that we think we maybe need to run a search on to add some additional stocks to our watch list. If we see any that are no longer viable trading options, we'll get rid of them. So we want to keep our watch list clean. And we will talk about... Oh, I better get my note card out. My note card for this week's opportunity list. And then lastly, we will go through section 3. We're moving from trading posture, market posture. We're moving from that to trading rules. So making sure you do have, John said that everything was good until he violated his rules. That's part of the system, is gaining trust in the rules. That can be an interesting one sometimes. Okay, let's get into it. Oh no. I just checked my platform. I just checked it. Do we have an error or are we working? Oh, we're good. It can be a bit spotty sometimes. Now, I've been trying to be pretty clear about what would it take for changes. So here we are. On September 14th. Where has the year gone? And I've said, in order for me to go up to a 1.25, or excuse me, in order for me to go up to a 1.5, we're at a 1.25 now. In order for me to raise my score, this would have to get all the way up here to the top of this current channel. Because then I would think it has a trajectory more like this over here, more sustainable. Otherwise, my thought is if we pull back, I would let it pull back. Maybe not all the way to here, maybe to this point, which would be this line. If I extend this across, it could do that. And I would still, at the end of that, end up scoring it at 1.25. The strength that we see here seems to be enduring. Okay. Let's take a look at... Now, did anybody else change their score? Let me know. Let me know if your score is about the same or if it's starting to shift. Did anyone raise theirs? But I kept mine the same. And let me actually get back to where I can see Same. Okay, beautiful. Sorry, I was like, wait, where's my comments? So we're going to stick with that score. 1 second here. I need to get rid of... I have an extra drawing tool that I need to shut down. Epic Pen. You are not needed. There we go. All right. Okay, so let's bounce back down to the 6 month. Okay. 6 month chart. We had called it slowing down last time. Let me show you. There was a little bit of a slowdown, right? Which, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. If you look here, let me highlight it. The trend slowed down a little bit, so we're like, okay, we're going to ease up. We didn't change to anything else. We just said, let's just dial it back a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. So, what do we think about it? Is it staying the same? I'm going to draw straight lines for this one. I would actually still say it's very close to being considered for an increase. I mean, it tried. It's at the top of this, but yeah, I don't think it's there yet. Right? I don't think it's there quite yet. So for me, I'm going to keep it I'm going to keep it the same. Anybody changing theirs? Yes, I like it, Stephen D. I agree with that. More conviction that the slope is going to increase. Maybe a higher low if it pulls back and it just gives like 2-3 days of pullback. Maybe a higher low is what we're looking for. Because I don't think we got what we were looking for on the high. So for me, stays the same. And there it is. The first two components are going to be unchanged. Volume. What do we notice from volume? Volume was interesting. Let's drop this down to 1 month daily. I believe we may have gotten another mark, but unscored, if that makes sense. Let me get my calculator ready. Let me get my handy calculator all set to go. Average volume, 67,522. 67,522,055. Yeah, I'm going to be very specific here. Times 1.05. 5% volume, we need 70,898,000. And we were at 780. So that was like 8% volume. Pretty good. Right? Pretty good. But who won the day? Nobody. So I'm going to copy this. That's another day. I'm going to copy this. And this is a T. So we did have a couple of above average volume days last week, but they were ties. Both of them. Both of them were ties. We did advance. We advanced last week, but nothing here. Let's go back and count these up. Let's draw. So I've got a tie here, tie here, tie here, tie here. That's 4 ties. One buy here with 2 sells. Yeah, across the board. Across the board, we have... Why am I drawing straight lines? I don't want that. I want a hand draw. There we go. Steven said 3 ties are as good as 1 buy. Oh, okay. Interesting. I have 2, 2, 4, which is a tie across the board. Well, to me, that's a 0.25. Remember, tie goes to the buyers. So if I have 3 ties and nothing else, that is, you're right. How did I get a tie on the 10th? Good question. Because, well, let me ask you this. What would you lean towards? A buy day? If anything, a buy day, right? Because it was an advancing day. But the problem with that is it started up here. It started up here and ended down here. So this to this was all that advanced. And that was only about 0.25%. And I need at least 0.5%. Right? At least 0.5%. So it was better for the buyers, but it wasn't enough for me to say that's the conviction we're looking for. If on that day it would have been a closer to the top and the buyers held on the entire time, then in that circumstance, we would have scored it. However, I don't know, even if I had 2 sell days, 3 buy days, 3 ties, I actually don't know that that's enough that I would have raised my score to a 0.5 anyways. I need to have a little bit more of a preponderance of conviction for the buyers before I would raise it to a 0.5. And it's, it's kind of, we just want to make sure that remember that the score here is for conviction. Do we have conviction? Meaning, oh yeah, the buyers are definitely taking control. Well, if they couldn't hold on to the day, it's hard for us to score it that they held on to the day. So for me, this stays the same. Okay. Any questions? Let me know. All right, let's keep going. If I can get this to erase. There we go. Whew, we're making good ground today, you guys. Halfway through, unchanged. Halfway through, and we're unchanged. All right. Let's keep moving into the bottom half. Major market analysis. Let's get this up here and here. Move my drawing tools and major market. Let me just check to make sure I'm at the right date here. Isn't a bad thing. Yeah, agreed, right? We're unchanged. We're unchanged. So as far as I'm concerned, unchanged, staying bullish, not a bad thing at all. We didn't need. In fact, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me go back. Sanity check. Sanity check. I start my line here at the start of this candle. I end it here at this candle, and it's a positive slope. Now, here's what's interesting. Basically every day was underneath that slope. So it was kind of fighting to hold on to that slope, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes we have it where it's like a moving average and it looks like this, but nah, this is the whole thing's underneath it, but it's still a positive slope. So for me, the justification definitely still there. Give me your thoughts on that. Okay. Let's open this back up. And let's get back to the major market. So let me make sure I'm on the right date. 9/12. That's the last day of the market. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense to us. What's going on and where? Now, to open this up, we're already at a 0.75 here. Right? We're already at a 0.75. The question is, do we start to see evidence of there needing to be even higher? So we don't have the Russell here, but we have the NASDAQ on top. We have the S&P in the middle. We have the Dow behind, and then we have the Russell lagging, right? The Russell lagging. Then we drop down to 133 days. And what do we see? Immediately we see the movement of the Russell into a leading position, not leading, but a secondary leading position, right? Okay. So press says the Russ is gonna rage. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely showing some. It's definitely showing the kind of momentum that we would need to have that next level bull market that we're looking for. So I have it moving into a leading position. Here, second leading position. Then we go down to 66 days and we say, is there some confirmation with that? Okay, so let's talk about that. And now you'll notice, what do we have? We've got a little bit of a volatile Russell, but it's moved into this top position. We've got the NASDAQ. We've got the S&P. And then we have the Dow down below. The Dow is lagging. I got to tell you guys, this is starting to make an argument as we see Russell moving into a leading position. This is making an argument for a full 1-point score. I don't know if I'm there quite yet. I'm thinking it's very close, right? I think it's very close. Now, Bob Walker says, well, when you take it down to the 20-day, it gets even better. So, is that our tiebreaker? Is it a tiebreaker? I'm on the fence. I'm wondering if we go ahead and make that move. Okay, let's see. Steve C said no. Not quite yet. Let me take it down to 22. Okay, and we will go from there. That helps. Right? That helps. I gotta say, that has me thinking about it. Tech is okay. I don't know. What else I would need to see here. I think it's looking pretty good. I was on the fence too. I maybe want one more. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think I want one more week. One more week just to make sure, especially as we watch the Fed this next week, right? Let's pause for a second and look at the economic calendar. What do we have going on this week? We've got Empire State Manufacturing. That's a very volatile report. I don't really put a lot of stock into that. We've got sales. We've got capacity utilization, industrial production. Both of those are expected to stay flat. Housing starts, building permits. No one's really paying attention to real estate right now. So then what do we have? Well, we've got this little doozy down here. FOMC interest rate decision. Expectations, of course. Let's refresh. Are between a quarter point and a half a point. Kind of. It's when you see only 4 to 6% in one area, that's just hopeful more than it is. That's what anyone expects. So yeah, that for me is a quarter point's locked in. And we talked about this. We just had a bullish week. We may have a couple more bullish days leading up into Wednesday, which means we're buying the rumor. The expectation. We're buying the expectation that there's going to be a rate cut. Excuse me. So if we get that rate cut, as expected, 0.25, then what? Then we need to hear the verbiage. Right? The verbiage. What does the verbiage tell us about what might happen next? And when we think about the verbiage, it's going to be, what does Powell say about what they see, what they're concerned about? Do they end up telling something that gives us an idea of what's coming? Is there more? Is there going to be a pause so that they can see the results? So no, Steve C, this chart, this is the quarter point here. This one here, 0.25. This one here, 0.5. So a very, very small expectation of that. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there is like an emergency hearing. My understanding is that the documentation shows there's really not any. I mean, I don't think that's much of a basis, anyways. But you know, that's what they're basing it on, and it looks like she might go ahead and prevail. So we'll see. So we will see. Okay, back to the business at hand. Yeah, that's a great point, Press. You know, the 900,000 jobs was a lot, but at the same time, we got like 800,000 revision just like that during the Biden administration at this exact same time, right up near the election. And so, you know, no one wants to see it where it's like it's not as good as we thought, but it's also not bad yet. So it's a good it's a good question. It's a good question. Okay. Okay. I forgot where I was. Let me go back to sector rotation. Sector rotation is set up. You think she should lose it. But my understanding, Press, is that there was nothing wrong with any documents. She listed it as a vacation home. So, you know, my understanding is documentation's holding up. So, has the market already calculated the rate cut? I would say, yeah, it's priced in. It's priced in, which means if we get it and they give verbiage that they're loosening policy, the market will be like, hooray, let's go. But if we get it and they seem to be like, you know what? We're going to have to wait and see, and we're going to have to see some things happen. Then I think that it becomes a little concerning that we have a buy the rumor, sell the news, right? Because we didn't get much as a follow-up. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. Okay, what do we have on top? Then who? We've got we've got communication services on top. Technology in second, then the market. So on this perspective, we only have two. We only have two of them that are leading. Who's close? There we see a surge trying to come from consumer discretionary, right? So discretionary showing some movement. Okay. Let's keep going. You look here. We've got industrials close. And we've got financials close. And we still have utilities in that mix. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. I'd like to see rates down to 2%. Understood, Stephen. Understood. Let's get up. Maybe. Maybe. Huh. There we go. 133. And technology still on top. That's looking pretty strong. We've got communication services poking its head back even higher. We've got industrials there. And we have discretionary close. Close. If discretionary had popped, I might be thinking about taking this to a 0.5. We got financials not too far away. Then down here, what do we have? Healthcare, staples. So we're not seeing any defensive rise, right? We're not seeing any defensive rise. We're seeing still a good growth position. However, I am already scored at a 0.5. What would it take to get to a 0.75? I need one more. I need to get 4 of them up there, right? I need discretionary to pop up. Let's drop down to 66 days and see. Plus, I need it to carry over here. Here I have 3. I have technology back at the top. Am I all the way over? I have communication services. I have discretionary. So I have 3, but I don't have 4 yet. If I get to 4, I'll raise it. If I get to all of them, that will take us to a 1. Questions? Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Let's keep going. Let's look at the 22 just to kind of get a sense of what's coming down the pike. Comm services at the top. You can see there was healthcare up here for a minute. Where are you, healthcare? There you go. Energy was there for a minute. Discretionary trying to pop back up. So you can see there's some momentum in discretionary, some momentum in comm services, financials trying to pop back up, technology. I think we're working towards something good, right? I think we're working towards something good. We're just not quite there yet. Okay. Any questions, let me know. Rates could be much worse. Yeah, back in the 80s, huh? There was something back then. All right. Unchanged. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, let's go to the VIX. And what do we have? Well, it's still coming down, but it still hasn't come down far enough. It's close. It almost touched these lows, but didn't quite get there. but didn't quite get there. So how am I scoring it? Unchanged. If it turns and it gives a higher low, that's still a concern, right? That's still something that is making us, worried about it. Okay. Any questions or thoughts on the VIX outside of what we're already seeing here? Okay, well, let's keep going. All right. And what do we finish with? We finish with a 5.25, unchanged. So I was correct. Let me delete this. But that's a good score, right? That's a good score. So it's very not unhappy, Steve C. I like that. There's always that concern that we have where we're like, should we be concerned? I think as of right now, everything is looking and feeling pretty okay. Of course, we have to get through the Fed. 5.25 for Steven. Okay, where's everybody else? Anybody higher? Who's the highest? Most people are the same. Love it. Okay. Anybody a lot lower? How about that for a question? Is anybody much lower than we are now? All right. Melody says, I'm with you. Fair enough. Let's go look at our watch list now. Fair enough. We've seen the Fed. Let's start from the top. We've seen the Fed expectations. We've seen the news. Apple, that's viable. I just was not looking for a lot of new trades. I was carrying enough trades close to the Fed situation, right? That's certainly something that we want to be aware of. Okay. A little concerned it's going lower, John said. Yeah, I mean, look, this week I've got some concerns as well. I definitely have some concerns as well. As of now, though, definitely Apple's on my list. And if I had or was looking for some trades, this would be one that possibly a continuation trade on Monday would be viable. If you're thinking, hey, I might take a trade for just a couple of days even of momentum, if you ever do those types of momentum trades, I would say that there's a bit of viability there. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, let's see. ADM still looking, possibly, for this thing to pop. If you held on to it, if you scaled out of a little bit, that would be okay as well. If you shut it down because it spooked you. Same kind of a thing. But at a 5.25, I'm going to give trades a good amount of space. I don't want to stop out. I don't want to take. I mean, it's not a 6 or a 7 where I'm like, I'm unlikely to take losses. It's pretty good though. So I'm going to give my trade some room and some space. So when you see the stop levels, the target levels in regards to trade alerts, make sure you're looking at those as rails, as guidelines. And most of the time, I want to see it at end of day, not necessarily intraday. Okay. But definitely on the list. Also, if you weren't in this trade and this holds on and turns, that's a hiccup new entry. So something to think about. Amazon on the list. Just made a higher high. Now it's pulling back. Definitely something that looks reasonable, right? So I would say, look at that. 3 for 3. APH, it's at a new high. Looking for a pullback. Looks good. I mean, look at this. Our watch list is strong. AXP on the list as tradable, right? I mean, it turned. It gave a little bit of a hiccup here on Friday. But look at the volume on the hiccup. I still think that there's a lot of viability. Look sideways, press says. Sideways from here to here, or a cup followed by a handle, giving us this trend now. Which for me says this is a higher high relative to the right side of the cup. It is the same high as the left side of the cup, of course. But I've got a higher high followed by a higher low. That would be what I'm looking at in that situation. Okay. Okay, let's go see. I can see. Okay. Let's keep going here. Bank of America on the list. Got a big list already today, huh? What's not on the list? BTI. BTI is a no. It tried and it's starting to roll over. That's a no for me. Citigroup. I'm having it on the list because I still think it's going. But I think you would already be in this one if you were thinking about this one. But this definitely looks good. Okay, let's keep going. Caterpillar, I don't know. See this one kind of orienting down, more of a triangle. I'm going to hold off on that. CCJ, that press for me looks sideways. right? This whole thing is kind of stuck in this sideways range. So there's that. CELH. That's iffy. That's iffy for me. Okay, let's keep going. All right. CLS. Oh, beautiful. CLS is in a flag. Setting up nicely. Capital One. I mean, it kind of is that same, it's a little bit there, but I think we have enough financials. I'm gonna hold off on that one. Let's go Coinbase. No. Cisco. Cisco held on by a thread. I pared mine down. But kept half. So I'm looking to see if half of it can recover. Can I get half a recovery? Okay. Let's keep going. Who still has a piece? Anyone? Anyone ride it? Delta, no. Yes, got it. Got it. Okay. Nah, Steve C says he's like, nope. All right, fair enough. DoorDash. Maybe. Diamonds is looking okay. EA missed the entry. EXPE a little overextended. Ford kind of on a hiccup. I'm going to still put Ford on the list. We had such a strong start. Then we had a little bit of a gap there. Futu on my list. On my list still. GE, not right now. Gold, a little overextended. Google, a little overextended. It's bullish. I'm going to put it on because if it flags, it's viable. Very strong right now. Goldman Sachs, a little pullback, and we are going to have a great opportunity there. It's accelerating. Hasbro, Hood looks pretty strong for financials. Howmet, not right now. IBM, IBM is setting up. Yeah, IBM is definitely setting up for us. Looking good. Okay, what else? What's the reason? Oh, sorry, I thought you meant what's the reason in IBM. I'm like, oh, it's flagging. Look, sorry, press. I see you were talking to Bob. Intel. No. IWM. Looks pretty bullish still. Levi. I still think Levi's on a setup for a consumer discretionary. Maybe a continuation entry. Light. Flagging. Still got a great trend. Las Vegas Sands rolled over. That's another one. I don't know what you did. I paired half. I didn't love it. It's at support, but I didn't like the volume on that one. That's what led me to take half off. So took half the loss. Meta setting up for something potentially here. Okay, let's keep looking. Is Intel good for a calendar trade? I mean, you could think about it for short term. Yeah. Morgan Stanley looks good. Microsoft, not enough yet. Micron, overextended, need a pullback. Netflix, little too sideways. Northrop Grumman, maybe. I don't love the way that this has been drifting. I kind of feel like at this point we should wait for one of these again. It's just been a little too long in trying to get set up. NVIDIA, overextended. PGY, no. PLTR. I'm waiting for the next pullback on that one. QQQ, overextended. Roblox, I don't see it. Reddit. I would love another trade on Reddit. Reddit is one that took a little while to get going, but made it all the way up. So I would like another opportunity for trade in there. RF, I think RF looks pretty good in the financials. Regional Bank, Rocket Lab. I think a couple of you got this. And if you did, well done. Hopefully you held on and you're still in it. It's got plenty of momentum going into next week. Silver. Bit overextended. SoFi. No. SPY. You got some Rocket Lab. Beautiful. About a little overextended. TME. Tried and then kind of rolled again. Tesla taken off. I don't know what the news was. What was the news on this? Someone tell me if you know. TSM, I like it, but it's overextended. Little pullback, put it in a good spot. Uber, holding up, but just kind of moving along in its current channel between 90 and 97 or so. Visa, no for me. Walmart. I thought Walmart might have given a pullback. I'm going to put it on my list because if it does, I'll trade it. But there it is. Where are we seeing? We've got some good ones in financials. We've got some technology. We've got some consumer discretionary. Not much industrials. Maybe we should do an industrial search this week. I'm not seeing that we have a ton of industrials, but there seems to be some okay strength in there. We definitely have some comm services. So I think we have a good mix. AVGO, Broadcom, let's take a look. Agreed. Added. I'm going to put it on down here. AVGO, on the watch list, on the short list. It's got some nice momentum, most definitely. Most definitely. All right. We're right at time. What else do we need to talk about? We are moving from Section 2 to Section 3. Section 3 is trading systems, which means trading rules. But each system gets its own unique set of rules. If I am if I have a bounce system, I might develop a breakout system. I might look at a continuation system. You might have very specific technical systems. And you're like, what do you mean by a technical system? If one moving average crosses another, if A happens and B does this, then right? There's a lot of people who love automated entries that look like that, where they really set up these technical parameters. Whatever it is, you need to make sure you understand what markets, like what kinds of stocks, or are you trading futures, or what are you trading with it? What are your time frames? Do you have a setup time frame? Do you have a perspective time frame? Do you have a trigger time frame, or do you just have one? Like, what are you doing with charts that help you to make the decision? How are you position sizing it? How are you determining your risk level? Where's your exact entry? Exact entry. When you enter, where's your stop? Where's your exits? What's your reward to risk expectations? What is your trade management rules? When do you take off risk or tighten stops? What are your tactics? How do you know how many to take off? If you're going to scale, do you sell half? Do you sell a third? Right? So really just trying to take all of the components of our execution and standardizing them as much as possible. That's the objective. So give 20 to 30 minutes minimum, hours better on your trading plan. Just kind of writing this out. Don't forget that we have a sample. So here is a sample for a bounce trades. Here's the markets I'm trading. Here's how I'm going to set up my watch list. I'm going to use daily charts with hour and 2 hour for intraday information. I'm in 1 to 2% depending on how strong the market is and how many trades I look to have on. That can fluctuate a little bit. Entries. This is a little weak, if you ask me. Looking for bounce trade signals. Okay, what does that mean? So I would actually flag this to myself and be like, you know what? I need more there. I need more. Stops, worst case scenario, look at 0.5% below the lowest point of recent support. Okay, that's pretty specific. If it's a momentum entry, I can use the low of the lowest of the previous Heikin-Ashi candle. This is okay. This is okay, but it could use a little bit more. So I'm even evaluating my own sample plan. Trade management, tighten stops, yes. Okay, sell a fourth to a quarter. You can see pretty good. Pretty good. I'd rate this about an 8.5. 8.5, I could do better, specifically adding some context to the exits and what specific entry triggers might, and you might have 2 or 3 where you're like, if it does this, or it does this, or it does this. If my candle exceeds the previous candle body and the stochastics turns up, there's a specific piece. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you're feeling more and more comfortable with your trading rules. This week we're working on trading rules. Next week we'll work on risk management rules. It's great to see everybody. Real quickly, something we're thinking about. I'd like everyone to weigh in. You can send me a message. You can weigh in very quickly. We were thinking about possibly moving the start times to instead of 9:15 to 9:30 for our market sessions. So instead of starting 15 before the market, starting right at the market. Now, I like starting a little before because we can talk about like, are the futures up or down? And what do you, I told Glenn we might be able to just put out hey, the futures are down when we put out our little pre-market or our pre-session announcement that says it's starting in a couple of minutes. It could be before. Oh, I'm getting good feedback already. Before is better. Okay, so I'm getting most people saying now the benefit would be do we go for an hour and go from 9:30 to 10:30 to see if there's any trade setups that come at that 10 o'clock bump. So that's the other side of the coin. So I've got a bunch of people who said they like the start earlier, but then the question is, would we get some during sessions? So you know what we may do? What we may do is change a couple of them. Let's change Glenn's to test it or something. Thursday, Friday, like the whole hour later. Okay. Brett says, I'd like the extra 15, but not worth it to be behind the 8-ball. Okay, that's good feedback. I'm going to have a conversation, and maybe we'll test a couple of things to see how it feels, right? Try it on, see how it looks. And then we'll go from there. Like it early, I'm driving. Good. Okay. Helpful, you guys. Helpful. I will give you I'll give you a readout on where we stand this week as we test it out and see what it looks like. The good news is this: if we ever do change it, like let's say we test Glenn at 9:30, if you get there at 9:15, you'll just have to wait a little bit. It's not like we'll start without you. So, anyways. How's the puppy doing? She healed well from her space surgery, and God, she's almost 8 months old now. She's as tall as the other boy, just much skinnier. She's insane. Thanks for asking. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you tomorrow morning. As always, happy trading.